Do you hear the Champions League music? Because I do. Manchester United 3, Aston Villa 1, and Michael Carrick does it again. After a very disappointing performance against Newcastle, Manchester United found a way to turn that very disappointing result into a massive 3 points at Old Trafford against a team who they are, to be completely honest with you, fighting for a Champions League spot with in Aston Villa. And we are going to break it all down. We're going to analyze exactly what happened in the game. So as always, grab your tea, grab your coffee, grab your espresso, and let's get into the video. So once again, I was a little bit surprised when the team news came out and I saw, obviously, the starting 11. We know what the back four looks like by now. We don't have to talk about it. We know what the midfield looks like by now. We don't have to talk about it. Bruno in the 10, we don't have to talk about it. But I've spoken on this channel a bit about how I think that Michael Carrick really needs to make a decision in regards to what his front three or his best front three will look like. Now, obviously, in different games, that will change depending on the personnel. Sometimes it'll be Sesko in the 9. So we've seen Cunha play there before. But I was a bit surprised in this game specifically that Sesko didn't get to start. Now, of course, against Newcastle, it was a very poor performance and he did get to start. Not necessarily his fault that United lost that game. But anyways, Michael Carrick decided to go with Mbeumo, Ahmad, and Cunha as his front three. And for me, the first half was pretty even. It was a pretty standard half of two Premier League teams who are fighting for a Champions League spot. Obviously, Villa's been a little bit up and down. They had a very tough time in the beginning of the season, then they went super hot and they've cooled off a little bit. Manchester United, since Michael Carrick has come in, aside from the Newcastle result, has been quite good, to be completely honest with you. But these were the moments that I realized Benjamin Sesko's absence the most, and I felt like it happened a lot with Manchester United. So what we saw a lot in this game was we saw a lot of Diogo Dalot occupying this space here and getting forward, looking to make runs behind the back line of Aston Villa, and Amad Diallo occupying the width. And here you can see Cunha making the run, you can see Bruno making the run. What I like about United ever since Michael Carrick took over is the amount of bodies that get forward when United are attacking in the final third. And this is what I mean by Manchester United getting players into the box. This wasn't something that we were seeing earlier on in the season. So you can see Mbeumo in the box here. You can see Dalot in the box. You can see Cunha in the box. You can see Ahmad in the box. You can see United getting players forward. Bruno gets the ball in, but none of these players are necessarily brilliant in the air. I mean, we have seen Mbeumo score goals with his head in the past. Diogo Dalot can rise as well. He's quite athletic. I wouldn't necessarily consider Matheus Cunha and Amad Diallo the scoring with your head type of players. And we saw it a lot in this game where the ball was going out wide and United were creating chances in the wide channels, but they had nobody available to get on the end of it. I think another thing that I've noticed is ever since a few games ago, I forget which game it was in particular, I made a video about the real challenge in Manchester United's lack of width regarding the personnel. As much as I am a massive fan of Matheus Cunha, I don't think it is any surprise that he is not a left winger. He is a half space player. He likes to play in central areas. But ever since we've made that video, I think there's been a big emphasis on Matheus Cunha really learning to get wide and ask the opposition fullback questions. You want to stretch the back line as often as you can. The last thing you want to do, especially against Premier League teams with how good they already are, with how tactically astute they already are, you don't want to make everything easy for them and have everything in front of them. You want to stretch them as much as you can, especially in the final third, and you want to ask questions. And I thought that Matheus Cunha did another really good job today of getting kind of wide when he needed to. There are still moments where he comes inside and he plays in those central pockets, but I think that is just who he is, and instincts are always going to kick in. But I felt like Cunha was doing a good job of asking questions because there were times where he would come short and drag a fullback with him, but then there were also times where he would go beyond. And this instance was a moment where Cunha decides to get on the ball and he decides that he is going to attack this space here. He's going to run at the fullback, and we've seen what Cunha can do one-on-one with anybody in the league. He is quite dangerous. And again, United get a cross in, but look who's the first one to attack the ball. It's Ahmad. And as good as Ahmad is, he's, again, like I said, he's not an aerial threat. He's not an aerial dominator. Like he's a winger. He's a smaller technical player. You don't want him to be the first one arriving into the box to score headers. But credit where credit's due. I felt like United had a lot of quality when it came to getting the ball from out wide and getting it into the 18. I feel like the crosses, the balls into the box were at a much higher level than we've seen before. And I really liked Euro here, just in his ability and his confidence to kind of ask questions and drive into the space. We saw this a lot under Ruben Amorim when he was playing in a 3, and he was often ending up with the ball at his feet in these positions, and they're not exactly positions that you want Euro to be in. But I like that even as a young center half, he has the bravery to get on the ball. He gets the ball out wide to Diogo Dalot, and once again, what do we see here? Diogo wants to do one thing, and he wants to get the ball into the box. And you see the runners, you see Mbeumo, you see Bruno, and it's good. The numbers in the box are good. But again, I understand the arguments for Mbeumo, but these are not necessarily the two players that you want attacking the box first. I would want a Benjamin Sesko here to really carry a center half, to really ask questions, and then you have Brian Mbeumo, and then you have Bruno Fernandes attacking those areas. The ball comes in, and again, it was, in my opinion, the best cross in the entire game from open play, and there is just nobody to get their head to it, and another chance eludes Manchester United. And I've spoken about it again. I like to speak about themes. When you're analyzing a football match, you don't just pick one-off instances in a game and decide that as your analysis. You have to look for patterns. And I felt like Aston Villa were pretty comfortable in this shape where you can see here Tyrone Mings and Diogo Dalot. You can see here Konsa and Mbeumo. And then you can see here Bruno is getting ready to make that run into the final third, or into the 18, excuse me. But this is just a really comfortable position for Aston Villa because the two center halves of Villa are always going to back themselves when this ball comes in from Cass. And I think this is a really good ball from Cass. I think he does a really good job of getting this ball into this dangerous area. Again, Cass is really good in this pocket of space here, but we need, in my opinion, that focal point. I think that's what you spent the money for in the summer with Benjamin Sesko. And I felt like there were too many times where we got the ball into some really dangerous areas. Aston Villa playing off of whoever was on the ball in these deeper areas, get the ball into the box, and then there is just nobody to head it home. And it felt like this was starting to grow. It felt like you could kind of see what was happening. United were getting the ball into very dangerous areas, but Aston Villa's back four, in my opinion, were quite comfortable dealing with these crosses into the box. But what I will give Michael Carrick credit for, even though I don't necessarily agree with him starting Sesko on the bench, was I love the amount of bodies that he gets forward. And it's made, super evident here. So Bruno is doing what Bruno does, and he's always occupying these spaces. He's asking questions of Tyrone Mings. But also what he does is, because he's not obviously a striker, Bruno likes to drop into these pockets here. You can see Ahmad, this is Luca Digne, so he's the left back. And what you don't see in this picture is Diogo Dalot. So Bruno Fernandes, again, has peeled off of Tyrone Mings. He's gotten into the pocket of space where he can get on the ball and he can do his best work. He can be dangerous. And look at Ahmed. Luca Digne is marking Ahmed, but he has no idea that Diogo Dalot has made a run off of the shoulder and he is going to attack this space here. Unfortunately for Diogo Dalot, he scuffs his chance. He doesn't really take it the best. But I really liked the amount of times that I saw Manchester United get into these dangerous areas. Again, something that we didn't see in the previous regime enough, in my opinion. And this is what it looks like on a tactics board. And I think that Manchester United are getting really, really good at drawing players in to one side and then playing the switch to the other side. So as you can see, kind of like what we just talked about in that picture that we were going through, Villa were extremely compact. They had bodies around the ball. and they didn't want anything to get played through. Unfortunately for Villa, Bruno Fernandes is a player who it doesn't really matter how much time and space you give him. He is going to get on the ball and he is going to create chances. So what happened was United were very much having Cunha and Mbumo ask questions of the two center halves. And Fernandes, as we know, is a player who likes to pick up any pocket of space that he can find a little bit of room in, and he can play that ball. Ahmad was very central as well, asking questions of Digne. Is he going to run in behind and try and get in front of Martinez if Bruno plays the ball in here, which we know he can? But what he didn't account for was the fact that Bruno Fernandes also can play this ball over here. Diogo Dalot does a really good job of staying wide, getting on the back shoulder of Digne. The ball gets played in, and Dalot, unfortunately, like I said, doesn't take his chance. But I think United are getting a lot better of creating this line of five, getting Bruno Fernandes in these spaces, getting Kobe and Cass in and around him. And what it means as well is when United do lose possession, you have the bodies and the numbers in the rest defense. You have Yoro and Maguire obviously stepping up here to be able to regain possession as quick as possible. Now, unfortunately, the challenges for Manchester United when it came to breaking Villa down in the wide channels and getting the ball into the box didn't end in the first half. It was also very similar in the second half. So you can see here, United have created a triangle: Ahmad, Diogo, and Kobe. And Kobe does what he does best, and he makes a run in behind and stretches the Villa back line. He gets in just outside the 18. And again, what do you see here? You see Bruno Fernandes, you see Matheus Cunha, and you see Bryan Mbeumo. Bodies in the box. It is a plus. It is a good thing. I don't want this video to come across as me talking negatively about Michael Carrick and his setup. But again, for me, this is where it comes down to personnel. I personally think if Sesko's playing in this game, United perhaps already have 2 or 3 by this point in the game, because I don't think that Villa were necessarily defending the wide channels very well. I think they were playing off of Manchester United quite a bit, which gave them a lot of time. And with the quality of players that Manchester United have at their disposal, they can hurt you when you give them those chances in the wide areas. And finally, the breakthrough. And of course, it comes from a set piece because we're watching the Premier League. So I really liked, this was a really, really well-worked routine. Casemiro is just hiding in behind Kobe here, and what he's going to do is he's just going to make this run right into the front post. It is so smart. It's such a well-worked set piece. Bruno with an absolute peach of a delivery. Casemiro leaps the highest. It's a really good header as well. I believe Martinez gets a hand to it, but Casemiro gets enough on the header, and just like that, Manchester United are up. I was going to say down, are up 1-0. And shortly after United score, as they tend to do even under Michael Carrick, they start to misplaced passes. They start to seem a little bit uncomfortable in possession. In a game where you think you score one, you're at Old Trafford, you go and score second, you go and score third, Manchester United seemed a little bit edgy. They seemed a little bit nervous. And Aston Villa took the lead from a great strike from Ross Barkley. And just like that, Aston Villa leveled it up 1-1, and Manchester United have it all to do once again. And that's exactly what they do. And look, Bryan Mbeumo got subbed off today, and he really wasn't happy. You could tell he really wasn't happy when he got subbed off. But I think this is a really good moment to talk about knowing when to speed up a game and knowing when to slow it down. So you can see here that Mbeumo is making this run in behind, and Cass obviously sees him. But again, if Cass doesn't put the perfect amount of weight on this pass, Konza is just going to intercept it, and then you have the bodies for Villa to go and play the other way. So what I really like what Cass does is he sees Mbeumo making this run, but he also sees the best player in the Premier League just waiting to receive in a pocket of space. And Casemiro, in my opinion, does the right thing, and he gives the ball to Bruno Fernandes. And yes, Bruno Fernandes, right now anyways, is the best player in the Premier League. And just with one touch, I mean the perfect weight of pass for Matheus Cunha to run into and for Mateus Cunha to attack this space here. He has played a gorgeous pass in behind. Mateus Cunha has timed his run to perfection, and he still has work to do. He opens his hips, he places it in the far post. No chance for Emi Martinez, and Manchester United go up again 2-1. And this is just, for me, what a confident number 9 and a confident striker who's in form, who's feeling it, who always has a sense of where the goal is. This is, for me, what it looks like. Casemiro gets on the ball and he gets the ball out to Mateus Cunha. Mateus Cunha does a really good job of beating his man and he attacks this space. This is what Mateus Cunha can do when he is in these 1v1 situations. Mateus Cunha gets the ball into the box, it's blocked, and Sesko with a chance to play it here to Bruno Fernandes, where maybe a less confident striker would just lay it off to your captain, because Bruno Fernandes has a really good chance of hitting this into the goal if he plays it. Benjamin Sesko just absolutely turns, smashes it towards goal. Manchester United go up 3-1. Huge celebration from him and Mateus Cunha as well. Manchester United collect all 3 points. So once again, was it the perfect performance? No. Was it at times a pretty performance? No. But right now, and I've said it before, when you're at this point of the season, what matters is 3 points. There are still some challenges, and they are kind of showing themselves over and over again. I think United are really missing Lisandro Martinez. Not necessarily defensively, because I got to say, I thought Harry Maguire and Lenny Euro were excellent today. I thought Harry Maguire was incredible. But a lot of times when United are trying to break down a stubborn block who's very compact, none of their center halves have the ability to play the ball between the lines like Lisandro Martinez does. I still think they lack a little bit of athleticism in that Kobe and Casemiro midfield, but we know that is going to get looked at in the summer. I still think there's a bit of a width problem. I still think Benjamin Sesko should be starting, but there is no point in me sitting here and nitpicking every single little thing that United are doing not perfectly, because the reality is they played a really good Villa side and they got to 3 points. And they are starting to distance themselves a little bit, give themselves a little bit of breathing room to hopefully qualify and clinch a Champions League spot. Now, there is still a lot of football, so nothing has been decided yet. But if Manchester United continue to play the way that they play with the individuals that they have and the quality that they have, again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. If it's not Luis Enrique, let me just see Michael Carrick ball going into next year. But that is it for this one. Let me know your thoughts on the game in the comments down below. Remember to leave a like on the video and subscribe. Hit the bell notification so you never miss an upload. The second leg of the Champions League games are coming up, and we are going to be analyzing those as well. So if you are enjoying the football content, remember to subscribe, as we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and I would really appreciate it. I will chat to y'all again very soon. Until next time, peace.